In today's video, we're going to do rapid fire news for a variety of altcoins. What's up guys, Kevin Cage here with another cryptocurrency update. Be sure to like and sub and let's kick it off. First things first, the HBAR Foundation accelerating Hedera, the entire ecosystem. The SIF, or Sustainable Impact Fund, is working to establish Hedera as the home of the sustainability economy. With over $100 million allocated for 2022, the SIF is investing in open source infrastructure and sustainability. Notice this hashtag, instead of DeFi, it says refi, referring to refi initiatives or refinancing. So in the previous video, we talked about Casper and Glimmer. Glimmer has a $100 million fund. Hedera has hundreds of millions, just like Algo, just like most of the top projects. I believe their future proofing in these alts will be here to stay. Remember, you can visit Hedera.com and see their governing council, dozens of members, some of the world's biggest. And you can hover over use cases to see a few examples: payments, fraud mitigation, data compliance, permission blockchain, identity, and tokenizing assets. Shared by Blockchain Media, the transaction confirmations compared between HBAR, ETH, and Bitcoin. HBAR obviously the winner, under 5 seconds, and this is for confirmation. But please understand the difference between confirmation time and finality. Because for each blockchain, you have to wait a certain amount of confirmations before the transactions are considered final. So for Bitcoin, users have to wait for 6 block confirmations, roughly 1 hour. And then after that, their transaction is considered final. Now remember, there's different types of finality. In finance, the finality that financial institutions are most interested in is settlement finality, and that's typically what I refer to. The longer it takes to settle a transaction, the higher the risk that something happens in between them. So no, it's not going to be Bitcoin solving the payments problem at scale. Even the Lightning Network cannot service the entire world. It has to be something like XRP that is built for payments. Also, shared by Golden Key, we can see crypto exchange CoinFlex probably won't resume withdrawals on Thursday as planned. Not your keys, not your crypto. Referring to, if you have huge holdings, please do not store them on an exchange. Maybe you're trading, but just remember, you can lose that in an instant, especially on some of these unregulated smaller exchanges. But overall, I think it's just incredibly important, if you have serious amounts of holdings in crypto or something that you cannot lose, do not leave it all in one place or on a single exchange. There have been many hacks over the years, and there's going to be more. And now we're seeing hacks in certain DeFi protocols. Next up, MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor now own 1 out of every 161 Bitcoin that will ever exist. And as he shared this morning, MicroStrategy has purchased an additional 480 Bitcoins for approximately $10 million at an average price of $20,817 per Bitcoin. As of yesterday, MicroStrategy holds approximately 129,699 Bitcoin acquired for $3.98 billion, so roughly a $4 billion position in Bitcoin with an average price of about $30,600. Wow. And he's DCAing with $10 million. Next up, by Constellation in the DAG community, in quotes, we had over 11,000 transactions per second TPS with only 6 nodes. This shows the importance of horizontal scalability as we move towards decentralization. With each node that is added, the transactions per second increases, so the more nodes, the TPS actually scales, and this is why we say that Constellation, or the hypergraph, can scale infinitely. You guys know I love fractals. One contains the whole, and they basically modeled all of their technology stack behind this concept of fractals. The answer can be found within nature. We've seen beehives. You can see the growth of flowers. You guys know I love the Fibonacci that exists in music, art, everything. I imagine if you had a microscope, you could just keep going infinitely and see things smaller and smaller. Just imagine a kaleidoscope going into infinity, looking into the quantum realm, meaning the magnification just keeps getting higher and higher. That's what I kind of imagine the nature of reality is. And you guys know I love to get on a tangent from time, so a quote from Alan Watts explaining where the word atom came from is actually a Greek word, something like atomos, and essentially it means not cuttable or uncuttable. So back in the day when they coined the term for atom, they tried to describe the smallest unit or smallest particle that could not be cut. Because if you have a sharp enough blade or knife, you can always cut something or a particle into 2. And then eventually the blade and the particle are the same width. Therefore, the blade is not fine enough to cut it. So as technology improves, we can get a sharper and sharper blade. We can keep cutting these units. Or with better magnification and better tools, we can zoom in deeper and deeper and see the molecular or quantum world. In quotes, we are not just going after financial transactions, but view every data capture as a transaction itself. And what I know with complete certainty is that data, all data in the future, will run on top of DLT. And I believe it will be on some type of network or DAG or directed acyclic graph. Blockchain is awesome. It got us to this revolution, but remember that distributed ledger tech is a big umbrella term. there's better technology. And you know Constellation is working with Space Isaac, also chosen by the Department of Defense. Why? Because the Department of Defense is one of the biggest data producers in the world, and they need their data to be stored and secured and be able to store it infinitely. They need unlimited storage. And obviously, just imagine a single kid on TikTok. Every time you're uploading a TikTok video, do you know how much data that is? And then multiply that by, a fraction of the world's population. There is so much data being produced each and every year. It's growing exponentially. For this data to exist, it has to be stored somewhere. So anyways, follow Constellation. Keep an eye on LTX. Jamil K's, thank you for the tag. We have David Schwartz in quotes. If you're looking at cross-border, the key factor is interoperability. If you're working across jurisdictions and across assets, you need a neutral asset in between different central bank digital currencies, or your liquidity will be divided among the n squared or n to the second pairs of CBDCs. We have the Digital Pound Foundation associated with Avalanche, XRP, Electroneum, Quant. Breaking news, Circle announces a fully reserved euro-backed stablecoin. And if you think that Tether and USDC is sketchy with the reserve amounts, then pay attention to USDC instead. XRP Crypto Wolf, XRP is number 2 on the top 10 current trending searches. Next up, an article shared by Dion in Business Tech. South Africa, one of the BRICS nations, is introducing a new banking payment system this year. So at first glance, it looks like they're really offering a cost-effective instant payment service across a variety of banks, which is going to embed user banking details for several known retail payment use cases, said by the Reserve Bank. So for example, users will be able to use a cell phone number or any piece of their personal identifiable information to make a payment. This is clearly the future and next step for banks. I mean, we can already do the same thing with PayPal and Venmo, so. Out here in Puerto Rico, we have a very similar system to Venmo. It's called ATH, and it's really the same concept, but again, they're closed walls. We need interoperability. We need open systems. Open payments will win. Also, Chainlink smart contract products go live on Phantom. Speaking of USDC, we have crypto derivatives exchange Bybit to settle option contracts in USDC. We have Matt Hamilton keeping the haters in place. XRP doesn't have a CEO. XRP has not been classified as a security by any regulator in any jurisdiction anywhere in the world. In fact, we have about 5 countries that have already said that XRP is not a security. Next up, Flare Networks is getting closer. 4th of July, audit of token distribution contract. On the 11th of July, the mainnet launch in observation mode. 8 weeks after this mainnet launch, the distribution of 15% of Flare or Spark tokens begins. Once the 75% of the initial 15% has been distributed, or 6 months, whichever is earlier, and governance to decide on the remaining 75% distribution to exchanges. And if you're on Twitter, make sure you raise hell to the exchanges that are still holding your Songbird hostage. I believe that Coinbase still is. They're either holding it hostage or they dumped it on everybody. Also, we got Mason right here, and people think XRP is never going over $10. As we can see, the global derivatives market, this is super intangible. Analysts from a variety of sources have said it's anywhere from 600 trillion on the low end, and on the high end, 1.2 to 1.4 quadrillion with a Q. So, the size of the world GDP, 50 trillion, 100 trillion for the total value of the equities market, stock and bonds, and then the elephant in the room. And Don Donahue, the CEO of this entire organization, was named an advisor for the company Ripple years ago. And then he was also named chairman of the Global Payment Steering Group, which is RippleNet. Now, full disclosure, I have not seen his name involved in years, but it's super eerie that it was back then, and now he's a ghost. And if people really think it's just trillions, it's much more. The DTCC processed $2.15 quadrillion, and this was in 2019. Looking at DLT. What did Constellation say? They're going after way more than just financial transactions because data is important. This is just a taste, and this is the securities market. So don't say anything's impossible. Next up, the HBAR Foundation. We're excited to announce that houseofcycling.io is being built on Hedera with assistance from the HBAR Foundation. This JV or joint venture with Reality Plus, Web3, and Immortal CPH is bringing the cycling world into Web3, enabling a brand new experience for cyclists and fans alike. Man, you got HBAR Foundation, you got Hedera they're doing video games, metaverse experiences, Web3 experiences, DeFi. I'm excited. And speaking of HBAR, we have a Hedera DEX. This is Saucer Swap Labs. Historically, DEXs that have launched during bear markets, tell me about it, have done well. Moreover, we have a duty to deliver our DEX in a timely manner. Let's get it. Hashpack, also one of my favorite wallets for HBAR. It is a Chrome extension. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. You can go to xrpcharts.ripple.com to keep an eye on the XRP ledger payment volume, the trade volume, anything in between. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything at all, be sure to hit the like button. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.